Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I am going to be doing a tutorial on one of these little chickens here. So if you're interested in making this little chicken, it is going to be no-sew and beginner friendly. I will be going over the basic stitches needed to make this chicken. So if you're a beginner and need a refresher, definitely stick around. But with that all being said, let's get into the materials you'll need for this. Okay, so for this project, you will not be needing a lot of yarn since they are such tiny little guys. So what you'll be needing is some white yarn. I'm using Premier Just Chenille. This is a thinner chenille yarn. You could also use Parfait Chunky or really whatever you would want. You would just need to adjust your hook size. And then you will need some red for the chicken's comb. You will only need a little bit of the red, and then you will also need just a little bit of yellow. And then if you want to embroider the eyes like I do, you will also need a little bit of acrylic yarn in weight 4 split in half for the eyes. And then as far as your crochet hook, for this yarn I like to use a 4mm, but you'll just adjust your hook size to whatever yarn you will use and how your tension is. You will also be needing some scissors, a tapestry needle, and a stitch marker. So that is all the materials that you will need to make this project. So let's get right into the tutorial. Okay, I'm going to start out the chicken pattern with a magic ring. If you already know how to do this, you can go ahead and do it. I'm just going to give a refresher here for any beginners. So for the magic ring, we are going to start with our palm facing us, and we are going to drape the yarn over our fingers. Hold that still there with your thumb, and we are going to wrap the yarn behind. You can wrap this around a couple fingers. I'm going to do 2. Make sure this is pretty loose too. You don't want to do anything too tight or your ring isn't going to move. Alright, now once we get behind here, we are going to cross our yarn over to make an X on the back. You can hold that still there with your thumb now. And now bringing this over the top of our fingers, we're going to make 2 parallel yarn strands, and go ahead and hold that nice and sturdy there with your other fingers. Now with your crochet hook, you're gonna start with your hook facing down, and you're gonna go under the first strand of yarn and grabbing the second yarn with your hook and pulling it under that first one. Now you're going to twist your hook so that the hook is facing you now. So now we are going to go ahead and grab the second strand of yarn furthest away from your fingernails. Go ahead and grab that with the hook again, and loosely, not too tightly, we're going to pull that through the loop we have on our hook. So now if we take this off of our fingers and grab this loose strand of yarn while holding this little knot that we created here sturdy so that we don't tear our yarn, we're going to go ahead and give that a little tug, not too tight, we don't want to snap our yarn. And you see how that should move there? So that is our magic circle. Now with this, we are going to continue on with the pattern. Now that we have our magic ring, we are going to put 8 single crochets inside of the magic ring. And to do this, we are going to take our crochet hook, we are going to go into the loop, we are going to yarn over with our strand of yarn that we have here. So yarn over, pull it through the magic ring, yarn over again, and you should now have 3 loops on your hook, and you're going to pull through 2. Again, we are going to go inside of the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and pull through 2. So we have 2 single crochets now inside our magic ring, so we are going to go ahead and make 6 more. So I will meet you back here when we have 8 total single crochets. So I have my 8 single crochets in my magic ring here. I just like to place my stitch marker on the last single crochet of the round. You can also put it on the first if you like to do that better. But I am now just going to go ahead and close the ring. Again, I'm just gonna hold this first stitch sturdy so I don't break my yarn, and I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten that up as much as I can without breaking the yarn. So it should be nice and closed up now. Now we are going to move on to round 2. For the second round, we are going to be doing 8 increases. So in order to do an increase, we are going to go into our first stitch here. It might be a little hard to tell with the yarn you are using. Mine is a little fluffy because it is chenille yarn, so it is a little bit harder to see. I'm going to go into the first stitch here, and I'm going to make a single crochet. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now it might be a little hard to tell again, but we are going to go into the same stitch we just did, and we're gonna put another single crochet in the same stitch. So go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And we should now have 2 stitches in 1 single crochet from the previous round. We are going to go ahead and do that all the way around. So I'm going to go in the next stitch here, and I am going to do 1 and 2 single crochets into 1 stitch. So I'm going to continue doing that all the way around until I have 16 total stitches, and I will meet you guys back here. Alright, so I'm on my last stitch here, so I'm going to take out my stitch marker, and I'm gonna go ahead and do my last 2 single crochets, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and replace my stitch marker back into the last stitch. Now we should have something like this, a little bit larger of a circle than we did the last round. So let's go to round 3. Okay, we are going to get started with round 3. We are going to be doing a single crochet and an increase 8 times. To do that, we are going to go into our first stitch here, and we are going to do a single crochet. And then we are going to move on to the next stitch here, and we are going to be doing a increase. So we're going to be putting 2 single crochets into that stitch, and we are going to continue that all the way around. So we are going to be doing 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then an increase. So I am going to continue doing that until I have 24 stitches at the end of the round. Okay, I'm coming up on my stitch marker here. So on the last stitch, you should be doing another increase. Now we should have our 24 stitches here. Now for round 4, we are done increasing. So now we are going to be working in the back loops. So what I mean by this is we can see our next stitch here. We have one loop here on the front, and we have one loop here on the back. So the loops we are going to be working into are these back loops. I am just going to insert my hook into the back loop, and we are going to do a single crochet. And I am going to continue doing this all the way around, all 24 stitches, just in the back loop. And then we have our last stitch here. So if you can tell here, we are now building up the sides of the chicken. We are going to work on the next few rounds now, which are just single crochets. So we are just going to go around and work a regular single crochet into both of the loops this time. And we are just going to be doing this for 3 rounds. So for 3 rounds, we are just going to be doing 24 single crochets around. I will meet you back here when I have completed all 3 of those rounds. Okay, so after the 3 rounds, this is what your chicken should look like. Now we are going to move on to round 8. So for round 8, we are going to be doing 2 single crochets and a decrease around. So for this, we are going to go into our first stitch and do a single crochet. Go into our next stitch and do another single crochet. Now I like to do invisible decreases when I am doing amigurumi. So I'm going to pick up the front loop of the next stitch, and then I'm going to pick up the front loop of this stitch after that one. So now we should have 3 loops on our hook. Now we're going to yarn over, pull through the 2 loops that we picked up. So now we should have 2 loops remaining on our hook, yarn over again, and pull through 2. So I'll show you that again. We're going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then single crochet in the next one. So 2 single crochets, and then this is where we're going to do the decrease again. So we're going to pick up the front loop of the next stitch, and again the front loop of the stitch after that. Now we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're going to continue doing that all the way around, 2 single crochets and then a decrease. Okay, we're coming up on our stitch marker, so our last stitch here should be our decrease. So I'm just going to go ahead and do another one of those real quick, and that is our row 8. Okay, so now we are at the point of stuffing and adding eyes. So if you would like to add safety eyes, you are going to add them on this side of the chicken, the side furthest away from your working edge. So this is our working stitch right here. So if you're going to add safety eyes, put them on the opposite side of the chicken. So if you're going to add safety eyes, I would add them between rounds 7 and 8, and they would be around 4 to 5 stitches apart. So they should be parallel to each other on each side. So I'm not going to add safety eyes because I like to embroider mine on the chicken. So they will look like this. So if you want to go ahead and do that, you can skip adding safety eyes now. But I am gonna go ahead and stuff this body. We're just gonna give it a little stuff now. We can give it more stuffing in a little bit, but for now, I'm gonna get a little bit going in there. Okay, for the next round, we are going to be adding some body definition and closing up the project. I'm first going to start out by folding this in half. Our working stitch should be in the back, and we have a regular single crochet right here. For this round, we are going to be working in both sides of this chicken. So for the first stitch, we are going to be doing a half double crochet. So to do this, we are going to yarn over, and then we are going to go through the single crochet in the front here. And it might be a little bit tricky, but we are also going to be inserting our stitch into the last stitch that we worked. Now that we have both sides of the chicken on our hook, we are going to yarn over again and pull through. Now you should have 3 stitches on your hook. We're going to yarn over again and pull through all 3. So now we have a half double crochet on the end there. We are going to again be working through both sides of the chicken here, but this time we are going to be doing a single crochet. So I'm going to go into the first single crochet on this side and the next single crochet on the other side. And now we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and then we are going to be doing another single crochet. So again, going on both sides of the chicken, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now this is what our chicken should be looking like. It should have a little tail over here. Now if you would want to stuff more, you can go ahead and do that now. I just like to make sure the stuffing gets up in that little tail area. Okay. For the remaining stitches of the chicken, we are just going to be slip stitching through both sides. So to do a slip stitch, we are going to be yet again going through both sides. We're going to yarn over and pull through all the loops. So again, I'm going to go into the next stitches on both sides of the chicken, grab my yarn, pull through all of the loops. So I'm just going to continue doing this all the way down to close up the rest of the chicken. Okay, and that's that. We have completed the chicken body. So now we can go ahead and cut our yarn and pull this loop all the way through. So that is our little chicken body. All right, with our tapestry needle here, I am just going to weave this end into the chickens. I am just going to go into a stitch closest to where the yarn is, go through the other side of the body, and just pull that yarn through. Make sure you're not pulling it so that the body gets all warped. Make sure it's nice and loose. Okay. Just gonna shorten this yarn tail here. And I'm just gonna take my scissors and just shove this yarn tail right up into the body. Okay. Now with our red yarn and our chicken body completed, we are now going to move on to working on the comb. So you are going to locate the tail of your chicken, which should be longer than the other side. So once you have found that side, you're going to make sure that that is pointing to the left. We want the shorter side to the right. So now once you've done that, we are going to locate the last slip stitch that we did in the previous round, which is going to be right here. So we're going to slip our hook in there. And then we are going to take our red yarn and we are just going to drape that over top of our hook. Now we are just simply going to pull through and we have now attached the red yarn. After we attach the red yarn, we are just going to chain two. So I'm just going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Now we are going to locate the next slip stitch that we did, which is right here. And in this slip stitch, we are going to make 2 half double crochets. So we are going to yarn over, insert our hook in that next slip stitch, pull through, yarn over, and pull through all 3 stitches, or all 3 loops on the hook. Again, we're going to do the same thing in the same stitch. And now we are going to locate the next slip stitch, and in this slip stitch we are going to make 1 half double crochet. Okay, and then into the next slip stitch we are just going to be making a slip stitch. Okay, and then your comb is complete, so we can go ahead and cut our yarn. Pull our loop all the way through and make sure both yarn ends are nice and tight, and this is what it should be looking like. Now to secure these ends right here, go into the body here. Alright, and we're gonna do the same thing over on this one. And I'm just going to meet those two in the same stitch. And see how this is all bunched up right here because we pulled it tight? Just go ahead and adjust that if you need to. Okay. Now with these two little ends here, I am just going to tie those off here. Just gonna shorten this one a little bit. And then I'm going to take my scissors and just push that knot right down into the body. Now, if you haven't added safety eyes to your chicken, I'm going to show you how to embroider the eyes. So right here, I just have some weight for acrylic yarn and I just split it in half so that there are 2 strands instead of 4. So I am going to put that on my tapestry needle. Okay. And so with our chicken, I'm going to insert the needle into the body And right where I told you to put the safety eyes is where we are going to put the embroidered eyes. So we are going to go over round 8 to round 7. So I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to insert the needle up at the top here. So I'm just going to insert my needle right down here at the top of round 7. And then I am going to take it and enter on the other side, parallel to where you are now. So you want to kind of like look from the front and make sure that you're kind of parallel to where you want to be. Make sure that you're on the end of round 7 here, like that, right there. Let's check. Right, I'm gonna do that. Right, so that's one eye there. And then we're at the bottom of the eye here. So now we're going to go up to the top of round 8. Again, making sure that is parallel to our other eye. So you can see here. Right, we're gonna insert that and bring it back down to the bottom where we first initially inserted and pull through, and that should cover our second eye, just like that. I think that is about even, so I am going to go ahead and fasten it off. So to do that, I'm just going to tie these ends together here. Give them a little trim, and then just stuff that right into the body. Right, and then we just have to do the beak, and that's the last part of our chicken. We just need to finish up the beak here, so I am just going to take a strand of yellow chenille yarn and put this on my tapestry needle. And now again, like the eyes, I am just going to enter at a random place in the body. And for the nose, I am going to come out 1 stitch over from the bottom of the eye. Okay, and now I am going to do that on the other side here. So 1 stitch over from the eye, and I'm going to go right back into that beginning of where we started. And I am going to do that 2 more times. So I'm just going to go back and forth into there 1 more time, except for the last time we are going to meet back up at that initial enter point from the body. Okay, make sure that's as loose or as tight as you need it to be, just so it's even. And if it looks even, you can go ahead and fasten off. So to do that again, you would just tie these 2 strands off. Gonna cut those shorter and shove those right into the body. And there you go, guys. There is the final chicken. Alright, and that is the chicken all completed. I hope that you guys liked this tutorial. My first tutorial on this channel. So if you liked it, go ahead and like this video. And if you want to see more from me in the future, go ahead and subscribe. And if you make this, be sure and tag me so that I can see. And yeah, best of luck chicken making, you guys. Bye. See you next time.